Mando in the bando. We're going to talk about him because Mandalorian season 3. Yeah, season 3 is coming out in a few days. And I wanted to talk about it because you haven't seen it, have you, Mandalorian?
I've watched a few episodes of season 1.
Oh man, what I love about this year is that the Mandalorian is basically, well, we'll talk about specifically this Mandalorian. Like when he was a child, his home planet got destroyed by droids. I think it was droids. And he was basically orphaned, and his parents got killed and whatever. And he got taken in by the Mandalorian, who are essentially it's kind of like a religion in a way, right? You like live according to the rules of Mandalore. And the whole journey of him is like, he went from like nothing. He had nothing. He didn't have a house, not a home. He didn't have a house. He didn't have parents. His planet was basically destroyed. He had nothing. So he was literally like at zero. And then through his journey as a Mandalorian, he recreated himself into something, which is, he's like one of the best bounty hunters in the Star Wars universe, at least. Don't know about any other universe. And is really about like committing to a way of being, and the whole thing with the Mandalorian is like they have a saying in it, like, this is the way. And it's like, this is the way of the Mandalore. Like, this is the way that we do things. This is the way that we're choosing to live. This is the way that we abide by our code. And one of the things that they abide by is that, like, they can't take off their helmets in presence of anyone else. Like, obviously when they're in private quarters, they can take their helmets off, but in the presence of anyone else, they're not allowed to show their face. Look at that with certain religions, with like Islam, for example. You've got like the headscarves and all of that stuff. Like, it's a way that him as a character and them as the, I don't know if you'd call them a tribe maybe, are choosing to live. And I love that, man, because it's about being committed to something that you're buying into. If you're choosing, okay, I'm choosing to be a Mandalorian, then you have to commit to the way of being that comes with that.
You can't do it half-assed.
Yeah, you're choosing to have a kickboxing fight, so you have to commit to the way of being that is going to make sure that you don't get your ass kicked, right? We're choosing to be coaches, so we have to commit to a way of being, not just in our business, in our lives, that equal authenticity around how we're living, so that we can then help our clients with that. We're choosing that.
And I'd like to quote my dad at this point. What kind of life coach has a messy room?
Yeah, this one.
Hey, I used to.
But that's it, right? And this is what I really see. It's like, it's really about committing to a way of being and like, but properly like living in accordance to it. And to him, it's like, yeah, it's a bit of an ordeal, isn't it? It must be hot and sweaty in this helmet. Like, a lot of the planets they go to are like desert planets that are probably like 100 degrees. He has to keep his helmet on. It doesn't look very particularly comfortable. It probably gets all steamy inside, but he has to keep it on because this is the way.
I like the conversation around commitment with this, because it might not be socially acceptable. It might not be normal. And you're choosing to commit to it because there's something in there for you. There's a way of life in there, and it's doing something for you. This is why I love Islam, and this is why I think, and maybe you want to cut this out of the clip here, I don't know, but I'm about to get deep on you. This is why the West has a problem with Islam. It will always have a problem with it, because it's encouraging us to go against what the Western society is condoning and deeming appropriate as normal. It's normal to be really into showing off. Islam's about modesty. Cover yourself. Lower your gaze means don't stare at women on the street and sexualize them. What in all the advertisements, what do you see around here? Sex sells. I was on the train the other day, and there's this advertisement for this pill called Perfect Hill. And it's got a picture of a hot woman, and it says like, great for your hair and your nails and shit. I was sitting there like, so you want me to think that this is perfect? Whereas that, like, Islam's showing you like, hey, cover it up. No one cares. Keep it moving. Talk to each other based on your personality. Like, I think that there's a commitment that I'm looking in the direction of making, especially when it comes to talking to women, and it's making more and more sense, because I don't have all of that as normal for me anymore. And when I see it, like, someone asked me yesterday, do you know any good nightclubs? I said, I haven't been to a nightclub in years. I can't remember the last time I went. I don't really want to go anytime soon. The last time I went to a nightclub in London was 2015.
Oof.
And I don't really feel like going anytime soon, because what am I going to do there? In the context of Mandalorian, it would be like someone saying to Mandalorian, do you want to take your helmet off and just show me what your beard looks like?
Yeah.
Why would I want to do that? I've got a specific direction I'm looking in. I'm getting a lot out of it. It's a spiritual path for me. When I go and do this with you lot, I'm entertaining the opposite of what I'm committing to, which is going to take me on diverging paths.
Yeah.
Now, I see this with a lot of things. Like, if you have a business and you're in your first like year or so, but all you want to do is have a good time and go out with your mates and talk shit, fair enough, you can. Diverging path. If it's just a one straight path of like, this is the direction I'm going, it doesn't mean you work 24/7. It's like slowing down, especially with the mental health conversation.
Yeah.
If the helmet equivalent is I'm committing to having great mental health, well, taking the helmet off could look like engaging in gossip, drama, playing into BS mind games with other people, trying to get back at people, trying to play politics with people. It's all diverging paths.
Yeah. And that's why, like, I think it's such a sick like analogy in the Mandalorian for that, man, because it's really about, okay, choose how you want to be and commit to it. Don't diverge. Don't take the piss within it. Like, stick to it. Be it. Like, he's a fucking grown man, innit? He can take his helmet off if he wants to in front of other people. And spoilers, in the second season he does. I know, but it's like it goes to show that, like, he's choosing that path. He's choosing the path for himself because it aligns with the values that he wants to live. It aligns with, there's something that he sees in being a Mandalorian that aligns with him here, and no one can say otherwise. No one can be like, oh, Mando, you're wrong, like, you should take your helmet off. People are like, no. For me, it aligns.
Yeah, and that's another thing, man. Like, carving your own path in the world rather than trying to fit in and be normal. This is a great representation of that. Find something that really resonates with you, find something that fits you, and be with that. Like, really commit to it instead of like dabbling in what's normal and all that bullshit.
Yeah. So if you like this clip, go and check out more on our YouTube. We're going to be covering movies, TV shows, anime, games, all sorts of stuff that we're getting powerful learnings from. So if you like this, go check out more over on the YouTube.